Welcome, everybody. It is Crypto Moose, and it's time to get loose. Mitchell Bouchard, your crypto and NFT investor. So, what I want to do is do a quick global crypto market update. So, as you know, Bitcoin fell quite dramatically yesterday, especially Ethereum. I believe Ethereum fell 20%. It was around 13% it fell in the span of an hour. I was up last night and we're looking at about here. So we were as high as 3,400 and man, just got wrecked. So on the day, yeah, around 13%. So my phone notifications were going off. And I'm like, what's going on? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to share with you, what I'm planning to do in going forward. So first off, nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. You are listening to a moose over YouTube. So just wanted to mention that. But yeah, like overall, I'm not panicked. Nothing bad has happened yet, really. This is a great buying opportunity in my eyes. However, we could go lower. We could go a little bit lower in the short term, but long term, I think even within the span of a couple weeks, I think we'll be right back where we were. And the main reason for that is because the people that are long, the people that believe in the space and that are building, like nothing's changed. If you've been investing into, let's say you're bullish on Solana for whatever reason, nothing has fundamentally changed yesterday with Solana. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, if anything, it's become more decentralized, more powerful, more well recognized. And that's what we're seeing, right? So when something happens globally, and we'll talk about that, Bitcoin will take a hit because of that. It's very possible. Okay, so we've got a couple of articles here, and global markets plunge as Black Monday hits Japan. So this is the big reason. I believe Japan had the biggest kind of crash, you could say, in like the past 20 years, something like that. So on the day, they dropped almost 13%. Okay, and it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal here. So everybody feels that globally. And then again, like you're seeing it, people panic. And then on top of that, this is what I wanted to mention here. You have FUD, ETFs approval. We'll get into that in a minute. But the other one is liquidation. So when people are leveraging dollars and they're taking on positions that they probably shouldn't be in, they just start getting hit like a domino effect, right? If you've been long Bitcoin, if Bitcoin starts to go down, people start panic selling. It's a big chain reaction. So that's kind of what we're seeing in simple terms. So dropping from 58,350 to as low as 50,000 in a matter of hours. So I think it was around 51,000, 52,000. But again, this is very possible, right? So if we take a look, we'll get into the rainbow chart here in a minute, but you got to zoom out at the big picture too, right? So here, just kind of diving into it a little bit more, the reasons here, Bitcoin took a stride down. It dropped from 58, let's call it 58 to 50. So really, it's just people begin to panic, and people with their long positions, they get liquidated, right? If you're long Bitcoin and it goes down, you're gonna get wrecked. So you got to be right on that. So people really gambling on these positions here. Okay. So there's a lot to go over. There's a lot of moving parts. But the S&P dropped 4.4%, which is a lot for the S&P. Even taking a look, I think some of these are live here. S&P's down 2%. Already some of it's recovered, right? So, the VIX, this is what's crazy too. You have your volatility index. It's up 46%. So that's pretty wild. The Moose might have to learn how to trade that. You guys can comment down below kind of your thoughts. Like, should the Moose get in and out of the VIX? Should we leverage long the VIX? You guys know we're not going to do that. So getting into the Bitcoin rainbow chart. So this is a chart that gives you a little bit of a visual, okay? In mathematical terms, post-halving, typically we go up, and we've got these zones. So basically, anything at the bottom, like the purple here, this is going to be, when we're at a low in the market. It's a buying opportunity. So all the way up until the green, really. And then as we go up towards the yellow, orange, and red, that's bubble territory, meaning there's a lot of FOMO, right? So there's even little indicators here. Bitcoin's dead, accumulate, and then maximum bubble territory, okay? So this gives you an example, visual representation of like the halvings. And we talk about this quite a bit on the channel, just to go over it. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen for sure. Bitcoin could just not do anything for 4 years. That's possible, right? So that's my perspective. It could do anything. However, because of the fact that there's only so much Bitcoin left to be mined, okay, adoption, more people getting into the space, more Bitcoin being recognized as the global cryptocurrency. It's divisible. There's so many different aspects to this token. And this is just Bitcoin, but typically what happens is if you look at, let's give you an example. 2016, you have the halving, right? So the amount of remaining supply that you get rewarded for mining, it gets cut in half. So instead of earning 4 Bitcoin, you get 2, let's say. So typically a year after the halving, so from 2016 to around the same time, 2017, we're getting into like crazy territory, like the highs. So right now we're in the 4th halving period, 4th official halving. Okay, so Bitcoin, let's call it 60,000 here, okay? What we should see is by summer of 2025, right? Maybe this time next year, we should be at all-time highs. And I think we're going to get to the 180 zone, and that's probably a good time to get out. When you see Bitcoin around 150, maybe it gets up to, who knows? There's a lot of different factors. If Trump gets in, it could be very bullish, right? If Kamala gets in, I don't think it would be as bullish. So I don't know. There's a lot of different criteria, and we'll talk about it on the channel too. Comment down below, what do you think in 2026 or 2025, maybe the end of the year, what the price of Bitcoin will be? I think it's going to be very high. And that's kind of when you maybe want to take a look at getting some profits, right? Because you would have won. Me personally, I bought at, I would say near the end peak of the last bull market. So I've been buying like this, like in a loop, which is okay. I've been DCAing. But ultimately yesterday, like I'm basically back to even again. So just as I was getting ahead, I got back to even, but it's okay. What I recommend for myself, if you guys want to, you can do the same thing. I think this is a good buying opportunity. Look at what has already happened. Bitcoin is already going back up. The liquidations happen. So the people that lost. And going forward, unless there's a crazy black swan, if something happens, if there's another outbreak, if something bad happens, it could go much lower. But again, also, is it a thing where there are other real issues going around in the world? I think this is just a temporary thing. This happens all the time, right? Like a good example is 2008, right? I wonder when was Bitcoin around? No, it was after. So it kind of happened after. But here's an example too. I remember this period. The first time I was ever exposed to Bitcoin, it was $500 US. So around here. And the Moose did not buy any. The Moose was really broke back here. He didn't know what it was, right? We're all at different stages. Now I don't think $1,000 in the market is too much. At the time, I thought that was crazy. So the world has changed a lot since then. So I remember Bitcoin going all the way to 20K and it crashing down to 3,000, right? Nobody wanted to buy here. So obviously some people did, but the majority of people were not buying Bitcoin at 3,000. The smart people were, because they knew that it would go back up again. Same thing. So in my eyes, this is an opportunity. Could we go lower? Could we go to 40K? Sure. But you want to think long term. Long term, Bitcoin will not be at 54,000 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Okay, that's my opinion. That's Moose's opinion, okay? So another quick thing, NVIDIA, I believe it was down, about 10%. On the month it's down, but that's because it went up a lot. When things go up a lot, you're going to see a little correction as well. So I don't always see it as a bad thing. Other than that, I don't know all the specifics of what's going on in Japan. So as a Canadian, right, the moose is up in the mountains, living like a moose, running around in the wilderness. He doesn't know what's going on in Japan. So that's something there. So anyways, I just wanted to go over that. That's kind of what's happening in the market. My strategy is to buy and hold right now. I'm not buying, but look, we're already crossing 55K. We'll be right back up. And again, this could be the big shakeout before the breakout. So before anything gets good, everything crumbles. So if you guys want, check out the link tree. There you can save 10% off your Tangem wallet. Guys, this wallet is fantastic. So I review a lot of wallets. Tangem sent me a wallet. We did a review video. It did very well. Over 500 of you have already purchased this wallet, so I appreciate that. You help support the channel. You save 10% off. Moose gets a little kickback. And on top of that, what I like is that there's a lot of software and upgrades. So I'm going to be covering what's going on with the Tangem wallet. So guys, use code Moose. If you click on the link, it's already embedded for you. So you can get this puppy for a 2-card set for around $50. And you don't have to worry about keeping your crypto on centralized exchanges. You can hold it in a non-custodial fashion. So check out the other links. That being said, the moose is loose. We'll see you in the next one.